Good day, everyone. I am Brittany Angie Vidal, your presenter one.
I am Dayan Jane G. Maulyon, your presenter 2.
And I am Michaela Stan, your presenter number 3.
And we are here to present joint cost allocation and accounting for byproducts.
Tayo mag-start, ano nga ba ang joint processes? Joint processes are production processes in which the creation of one product also creates other products. It is a process in which that one input you have used in manufacturing can yield into multiple outputs. To explain this, meron kaming mga inihandang ilang illustration para sa inyo. So, illustration 1, yung oil refinery. Sa oil refinery kasi, may isang input, which is yung crude oil. Then, ito ay pinaprocess into different outputs, katulad ng auto gasoline, motor oil, heating oil, or kerosene. So, yung process na yon, it's called joint processing. Kasi nga, galing sa isang input, which is yung crude oil, nagkakaroon ng dadalawa o marami pang outputs, katulad ng mga nasabi ko na kanina. Illustration number 2, poultry farm. So, dito sa poultry farm, dito natin nakukuha yung mga everyday chicken products nating nakakain, such as yung mga inaadobo natin, or tinitinola, yung mga nabibili natin sa McDo, sa Jollibee. So, yun yung pinaka-main product ng poultry farm, which is yung iba't ibang part ng chicken, such as yung breast, wings, drumsticks, and etc. Then, meron din silang nagagawang mga byproducts, which is yung katulad ng hotdog and animal provender. Dahil ito ay gawa sa chicken fats, intestines, and etc. So, what does a joint process produce? Pinakauna ay ang joint product. Ang joint product ay ang main product na napoproduce ng isang joint production. For example, chicken. Kaya natin itong i-divide into different parts such as wings, drumsticks, breast, and etc. So, yun yung main product ng isang chicken. Then next is yung byproducts. Yung byproducts naman na related to chicken is like yung feather. So, yung mga products na pwede ma-produce dito is yung mga design na made of feather katulad na lang ng dreamcatcher and etc. Byproducts has higher sales value compared to scrap. However, it is lower than joint product. Next up is yung sa scrap, which is ito yung mga may lower sales value compared sa mga byproducts. Kung related sa chicken, ito yung mga chicken manure na pwede nating gawing fertilizer. Then next is yung sa waste. Yung waste naman, wala talaga siyang sales value. Literal, coined as waste lang talaga siya. For example na lang is yung mga smoke na napoproduce na mga machine sa isang factory. So, meron pa tayong mga further examples ng joint products. Katulad na lang sa industry ng oil refining, ang petrol, diesel, liquid petroleum gas, kerosene, paraffin, and lubricants are the joint products. Samantalang sa meat processing, mayroong meat, hides, bones, grease, and sa mining, mayroong several metals from the same ore, like for example, iron, copper, silver, and etc. Sa coal gas naman, mayroong coke, tar, benzol, and sulfate of ammonia. And lastly, sa sheep rearing, mayroong meat, wool, and hides. Next up is yung further example of byproducts. Okay, so ito naman yung mga byproducts ng iba't ibang industry. So sa sugar manufacture, merong molasses, which is used for industrial alcohol. Sa iron and steel, merong furnace slag used in construction activities. Samantalang in meat trade, merong bones and grease. Sa timber, may sawdust, small offcuts, and barks. Sa coke industry, merong linoleum. And lastly, sa thermal power plant, merong ash. Okay, so ngayon meron tayong joint cost allocation method. So joint cost allocation method may tatlong method, which is yung physical units method, yung market value method, and yung constant cross margin approach. So unahin muna natin yung physical units method. This method allocates joint costs by the physical measures or base such as weight or volume. Yung measures na ginagamit natin dito ay kadalasang per kilogram, tons, liters, gallons, or number of units. This allocation of joint costs is based on the ratio of their output weight. So in short, itong physical units method, coming from the word itself, it's all about the physical attributes of a product. Next is yung market value method. Sa market value method, meron pang tatlong iba't ibang method na nakapaloob dito, which is yung letter A, sales value method, yung sales value at split of point, letter B, yung net realizable value method at split of point, and letter C, yung approximated net realizable value method. And lastly, but not the least, is yung constant margin approach. Dito, kukuhain muna natin yung cost ratio using cost of goods sold divided by total sales. From there, makukuha natin yung cost ratio, which is ita-times or imumultiply natin sa sales value per products para makuha natin yung total cost of products. If ever nag-process further, kailangan nating i-less yung APC or additional processing cost para makuha natin yung allocated joint cost. Pero pag hindi na siya nag-process further, kung ano yung nakuha nating total cost, ayun na yung allocated joint cost. So, i-explain naman natin ng maayos yung market value method. Ang market value method, yung cost allocation niya is nagbe-base sa market value ng bawat product. Meron itong tatlong iba't ibang method, which is yung sales value method, yung NRV method or yung net realizable method, and yung approximated net realizable value method or also called as hypothetical market value method. Sa sales value method, ina-allocate niya yung joint cost through the ratio ng sales value at a split of point. Samantalang yung NRV method, para lang din itong sales value method. Ginagamit natin ang market value at a split of point, less selling expense, or cost of disposal. And last but not the least is yung hypothetical market value method o ang approximated net realizable value method. Ginagamit natin ito kapag undetermined yung value ng isang product at split of point. Kaya, kukunin natin yung final selling price, less selling expense, less APC o ang additional processing cost para makuha yung approximate na market value at a split of point. Ito ay gagamitin natin as a ratio para ma-allocate yung joint cost. Ano nga ba yung importance of joint allocation? So maraming importance ang joint allocation at nangunguna na dito ang financial reporting. Kasi kailangan natin i-compute ang joint cost para malaman natin ang totoong value ng inventory and cost of goods sold ng isang company. Next is yung product pricing. Ginagamit ang joint cost para malaman mo yung total cost na na-incurred ng isang product. Ito yung mag-guide sa'yo or magiging basis para maging accurate yung price ng product mo. Next up is yung mga main objective ng allocation of joint cost. So, isa-isahin natin. Unang-una ay for cost control and decision making. Next is management can judge the profitability of a product. Next is for valuation of stock of finished goods and work in progress. Next is to meet cost audit and regulations. Next is for correct determinations of cost and cost justifications in case of price control. And lastly is to fix selling prices. Sell as is or process further. Paano nga ba natin malalaman kung mas magandang isell na lang agad-agaran ng isang product or i-process pa ito further upang magkaroon tayo ng higher profit? So, gumawa kami ng illustration para sa inyo. A company produces 200 units of plain vanilla ice cream for a price of 20 pesos. Furthermore, the company wants to produce a strawberry ice cream that would cost them an additional processing cost of 5 pesos, selling it for 28 pesos. What would be the best decision to choose by the management between the flavors of ice cream? Para malaman natin kung mas maganda bang ibenta na agad or i-process further pa ang isang product, kailangan muna natin kunin ang incremental revenue at ang incremental cost. Ang incremental revenue ay ang revenue na maaari mong makuha if ever prinasas mo pa further ang product mo. Samantalang, ang incremental cost ay ang cost na may incurred kapag prinasas mo pa further yung product mo. Ang difference ng incremental revenue at incremental cost ay ang maaaring disadvantage or advantage na makukuha mo if ever nag-process ka further. So, based sa illustration natin kanina, para makuha natin yung incremental revenue, gagamitin natin yung final sales value minus sales value at split of cost, which is 28 minus 20 is equals to 8 times 200 units. Mag-equivalent into 1,600 pesos. Next up is yung incremental cost, na para makuha natin ay ita-times natin yung APC, which is yung additional processing cost na 5 pesos times 200 units, na which is 1,000. Ang difference ng incremental revenue at incremental cost na 1,600 minus 1,000 is equivalent to 600 pesos. Since mas mataas yung incremental revenue natin kaysa sa incremental cost, ito ay matatawag natin na advantage. Kaya, mas magandang mag-process pa tayo further into a strawberry ice cream kaysa ibenta natin na plain vanilla ice cream yung ating product. Laging tatandaan na kapag mas mataas ang incremental revenue kaysa sa incremental cost, ito ay tatawagin nating advantage. Pero kapag mas mataas ang incremental cost kaysa sa incremental revenue, ito ay matatawag nating disadvantage. Next up is yung accounting for byproducts. So, meron kasi tayong common practice na hindi nag-allocate or hindi nag-share ang mga byproducts doon sa joint processing cost ng mga joint products. Kaya naman, meron tayong two methods para ma-account ang mga byproducts, which is yung net realizable value method or yung production method, and yung realizable value method or yung sales method. Sa production method or net realizable value method, nare-recognize ang isang product sa accounting period na which the product is produced. And nare-recognize ang product as inventory. Samantalang ang sales method or realizable value method, nare-recognize ang isang product sa accounting period na which the product is sold. And hindi natin nare-record ang product as an inventory. Ang main difference nila when it comes to allocating of joint costs, sa production method, nililess ang proceeds ng byproducts sa joint cost. Samantalang sa sales method, wala siyang effect sa joint cost. Upang mas lalo kayong malinawan, naghanda kami ng iba't ibang sample problems na magdidiscuss ng iba't ibang allocation method.
And now, let's proceed to joint costs allocation. So ito po ang ating sample problem. Gobble Incorporated manufactures 3 primary products from a joint process: turkey breasts, ground turkey, and whole turkeys. Joint products can either be sold at split off or processed further at an additional costs. Joint costs amounting to 5,400,000 must be allocated. So iti-take note natin itong 5,400,000, okay? So the following data were gathered from the production records of Gobble Incorporated. So itong mga data nito ay kailangan natin mamaya, okay? So sabi dito, required. Allocate the joint costs using, first one, relative sales value method, and the second one is the net realizable value method and approximated net realizable value method. So the first one, gagamitin natin ang relative sales value method. So dito, just to be clear, ang tons produced and sales price per ton at split off, ito po ay given. So ang next one that we need to compute is the sales value. So paano po? Just simply multiply the tons produced sa sales price per ton, makukuha natin ang sales value. So kay breasts, ang gagawin natin, ang 3,800 ita-times sa 2,800, makukuha natin ang 10,640,000. Kay ground naman, ita-times natin ang 2,400 sa 1,800, makukuha natin ang 4,320,000. Kay whole naman, ita-times natin ang 2,800 sa 1,200, makukuha natin ang 3,360,000. A total of 18,320,000. Okay? So the next one that we need to compute is the percentage to total sales value. So paano ito makukuha? Just simply divide the sales value sa total sales value. So kay breasts, ang gagawin natin, ang 10,640,000, i-divide natin sa 18,320,000 at ang makukuha natin ay 58%. Kay ground naman, i-divide natin ang 4,320,000 sa 18,320,000, makukuha natin ang 24%. And then kay whole naman, i-divide natin ang 3,360,000 kay 18,320,000, makukuha natin ang 18%, a total of 100%. So the next one that we need to compute is the allocated joint costs. But before that, ang joint cost po natin dito, itong 5,400,000 ay given po. Diba kanina, sabi ko, iti-take note natin ang 5,400,000. Kasi ito na yung sa lahat, sa breast, sa ground, sa whole, yun yung joint cost nila. And ito rin dapat yung total ng allocated joint costs. Okay? So, paano ba makukuha ang allocated joint costs? So, ganito yon. Just simply multiply the percentage to total sales sa joint costs. So, kay breast, ang pagkuha natin is that ang 58% ita-times sa 5,400,000. Makukuha natin ang 3,132,000. Kay ground naman, ita-times natin ang 24% kay 5,400,000 at makukuha natin ang 1,296,000. Kay whole naman, ita-times natin ang 18% sa 5,400,000, makukuha natin ang 972,000. A total of 5,400,000. And the last one that we need to compute for this method is that the allocated joint costs per ton. So, paano kukunin ito? Just simply divide the allocated joint costs sa number of tons produced. So, kay breasts, i-divide natin ang 3,132,000 sa 3,800. Makukuha natin ang 824.21. Kay ground naman, i-divide natin ang 1,296,000 sa 2,400. Makukuha natin ang 540. Kay whole naman, i-divide natin ang 972,000 sa 2,800. Makukuha natin ang 347.14. Okay, so ito lahat yung process or gagawin natin sa relative sales value method. And just to be clear, ang basis natin or ang base natin dito ay sales price per ton at split off. Okay? So the next method that i-discuss natin is about net realizable value method. So again, just to be clear, yung tons produced ay given po. Ngayon, meron tayong kukumputin ang NRB per ton at split off. Kasi hindi ito given eh. So, i-compute natin. So, paano ba ito i-compute? Ang gagawin dito, ang sales price per ton at split off ay ima-minus sa marketing costs. So, saan ba makukuha yung values nitong dalawa? Ito po ay given. Dun sa binasa nating problem, sample problem, ito po, ang mga values niya ay given. So, kay breasts, meron siyang sales price per ton at split off na 2,800 at meron siyang marketing costs na 200. So, 2,800 i-minus sa 200, makukuha ang 2,600. And then kay ground, 1,800 i-minus sa 100, makukuha ang 1,700. Kay whole naman, ang 1,200 ay i-minus sa 50, makukuha ang 1,150. So, the next one naman na kailangan natin i-compute is ang net realizable value. So, paano ito makukuha? Ito po ay makukuha kapag tinimes mo ang tons produced sa NRV per ton. So, ang breasts ay ito times natin ang 3,800 sa 2,600. Makukuha ang 9,880,000. Sa ground, ito times natin ang 2,400 sa 1,700. Makukuha natin ang 4,080,000. Sa whole naman, ito times natin ang 2,800 sa 1,150. Makukuha natin ang 3,220,000, a total of 17,180,000. Okay? So, the next one naman ay kukunin natin ang percentage to total NRV. So, paano ito kukunin? Just simply divide the net realizable value sa total net realizable value. So, kay breasts, ang gagawin, i-divide natin ang 9,880,000 sa 17,180,000 at makukuha natin ang 57%. Kay ground naman, i-divide natin ang 4,080,000 sa 17,180. Makukuha ang 24%. Ganyan naman, kay whole naman, i-divide natin ang 3,220,000 sa 17,180. Makukuha natin ay 19%, a total of 100%. So, the next one that we need to compute is the allocated joint costs. Again, ang joint cost po natin ay given. Ito po ang 5,400,000. Okay? Just take note of that. And then, paano kukunin ang allocated joint costs? Madali lang po. Ita-times mo lang ang percentage to total NRV sa joint costs. So, si breasts, meron tayong 57%, ita-times kay 5,400,000. Makukuha natin ang 3,078,000. And just follow the process. Makukuha natin kay ground ay 1,296,000. Kay whole naman, makukuha natin ang 1,026,000 at total of 5,400,000. Kung mapapansin natin yung process or yung mga pagko-compute dito is, kumbaga paulit-ulit eh. So, magiging familiar tayo kung paano ba kukunin si NRV per ton at split off, paano si net realizable value kukunin, or si percentage to total NRV. So, the last one that we need to compute for this method ay ang allocated joint costs per ton. So, paano po ito kukunin? Just simply divide the allocated joint costs sa ton produced. So, sa breasts natin, meron tayong 3,078,000. I-divide natin sa 3,800. Makukuha natin ang 810. Kay ground naman, i-divide natin ang 1,296,000 sa 2,400. Makukuha natin ang 540. And then kay whole naman, i-divide natin ang 1,026,000 sa 2,800. Makukuha natin ang 366.43. So, overall, yun yung process for this method. And just to be clear, ang naging basis natin dito ay NRV per ton at split off. Okay, the next one is the approximated net realizable value method. But before that, let's assume that all joint products are not saleable at split off point and requires further processing to come up with a saleable final output. So, ito po ay assume natin. So, the next one is that yung tons produced po, just to be clear, ito po ay given. Given po yan. So, ang next na i-compute natin ay approximated NRV per ton. So, paano po ito makukuha? Ima-minus lang po natin ang final sales price per ton sa marketing costs and separate costs per ton. Okay? Sa breast po, meron siyang 3,200 na final sales per ton. Ima-minus natin sa 300. Saan nakuha yung 300? Ito po ay ang marketing cost niya. Meron siyang 200 and then 100 siyang separate costs per ton. So, saan po nakuha yung mga values na yon? Ito po ay given. And then, sa ground naman, again, just follow the process. Makukuha natin ang 1,900. Sa whole naman, makukuha natin ang 1,390. So, the next one is ang approximated NRV. So, paano po makukuha ang approximated NRV? Again, just simply multiply the tons produced sa approximated NRV per ton. So, dito po kay breasts, ita-times natin ang 3,800 sa 2,900. Makukuha natin ang 11,020,000. Kay ground naman, just follow the process. Makukuha natin ang 4,560,000. Kay whole naman, makukuha natin ang 3,892,000, a total of 19,472,000. So again, 'di ba? Kung mapapansin natin, yung proseso o yung pag-compute ay halos po ulit-ulit lang. So mas nagiging familiar tayo habang further na dinidiscuss itong mga methods. Okay? So the next one naman na i-compute natin is ang percentage to total approximated NRV. So how to get this one? Again, just simply divide the approximated NRV sa total approximated NRV. So sa breasts, meron siyang 11,020,000. I-divide kay 19,472,000. Makukuha natin ang 57%. Kay ground naman, again, just follow the process. Ang makukuha natin ay 23%. And kay whole naman, makukuha natin ang 20%. So, the next one again is i-compute natin ang allocated joint cost. And again, itong joint cost po given po ito Yung pinagdadaanan natin kanina sa pagbasa pa lang sa sample problem, yun po ang joint cost. And yun din po, dapat ang total ng allocated joint costs mo, dapat 5,400,000. So, paano ulit ito makukuha? Ang percentage to total approximated NRV, ita times kay joint costs. So, kay breasts, we have 57% times 5,400,000. Makukuha natin ang 3,078,000. Kay ground naman, meron siyang 23%. Ita times natin sa 5,400,000. Makukuha ang 1,242,000. Kay whole naman, ita times natin ang 20% sa 5,400,000. Makukuha natin ang 1,080,000. A total of 5,400,000. And the next one na need natin i-compute for this method ay ang allocated joint costs per ton. So, paano makukuha? Again, just simply divide the allocated joint costs sa tons produced. So, kay breasts, i-divide natin ang 3,078,000 sa 3,800. Makukuha natin ang 810. And again, just follow the process. Ang makukuha mo kay ground ay 517.5. Kay whole naman, makukuha ang 385.71. So again, that's the process dito sa method na to. And halos pare-parehas lang naman yung pagko-compute dun sa mga sa tatlong methods na ito na under ng market value method. So again dito sa approximated net realizable value method, just to be clear, ang naging basis natin dito ay ang approximated NRV per ton. So let's move on. Another one. So here is the allocation of joint costs. Ito naman ay ang physical measure and ang constant margin approach. So here's our sample problem. Ang sugarcane company. So sugarcane company processes sugar beets into 3 products. During April, the joint costs of processing were 40,000. Production and sales value information for the month were as follows. So, ito yung mga data na kailangan natin mamaya pag mag-compute tayo. Okay? So, sabi dito, allocate joint costs of 40,000 using physical measure and constant margin approach. Okay? Clear tayo doon? So, the first step that we need to do is that we need to determine the total joint costs to be allocated and the units produced for each joint products for the problem given. So, sa problem given, kung mapapansin natin pala, dun sa binasa nating sample problem is naka-bold si 40,000. Kasi, yun yung joint costs natin. Sinabi naman na yun yung joint costs. Okay? So, ang total ng joint costs allocated natin dapat ay 40,000. So, the next step that we need to do is that we need to allocate the total joint costs by ang gagawin natin ay number of units, i-divide kay total number of units and then i-multiply kay total joint costs. So, paano yun? Paano nangyari itong allocation na ito na nasa PowerPoint? Yun lang po ay ang 6,000 ni sugar, tas i-divide sa 12,000 which is yung total of units, ita times sa 40,000 which is yung joint costs. Kay sugar naman, merong 4 over 12 or 4,000, i-divide kay 12,000 times 40,000. And then si fructose syrup, is 2,000, i-divide kay 12,000, ita times kay 40,000. And then the next one na we need to do is that compute and check if the joint costs allocated for each joint product amounts to the total joint costs. So dito, i-compute natin itong inallocate natin kanina, which is yung kay sugar, yung 6,000, i-divide sa 12,000 times 40,000, makukuha natin ang 20,000. And again, just follow the process. Ang makukuha natin sa sugar syrup is 13,333. Okay? So, ang kay fructose naman, syrup, ang makukuha natin ay 6,667. A total of 40,000. Okay?
Constant margin approach. Dito, sa approach na to, meron lang tayong 4 easy steps. At ang first step natin is we compute the overall gross margin percentage along with the cost ratio. We shall remember na ang gross margin percentage natin dito ay constant. And para magawa natin ng first step, we shall get the total sales. Saan ba yung makukuha? Makuha natin yan sa final sales value, which are the sugar syrup, and the fructose syrup. 50,000, 70,000, plus 40,000 equals 160,000, which is our total sales. Next, total sales, ilalas natin dito yung total cost. So, ano nga ba ang component ng total cost? It is a combination of the joint cost and separable cost. So, i-add lang natin ang joint cost, given naman siya, 40,000. Then, yung separable cost, given din siya. Then, i-add lang natin sa bawat product. So, 12,000 plus 32,000 plus 16,000 equals 60,000 plus 40,000 equals sa ating total cost. Next, itong nakuha nating total sales na 160,000, i-less natin yung total cost na 100,000, makukuha natin yung gross margin natin na 60,000 na kailangan natin sa ating gross margin rate. So, gross margin na 60,000 divided by natin sa total sales na 160,000 equals 37.5%. Sa cost ratio naman, sa ating cost, syempre cost ratio, ang ating numerator is total cost na 100,000 divided by ulit natin sa total sales kasi nga sa constant margin approach naka-base tayo sa total sales. So 100,000 divided by 160,000 equals 62.5%. Again, sa constant margin approach, alalahanin na nag-yield ito ng same gross profit rate for all the product kasi nga constant. Second step, we will determine the total cost of each joint product using this formula. So, total cost equals to final sales value times the cost ratio na nakuha natin kanina. So, sa sugar, final sales value niya is 50,000. Times lang natin siya sa 62.5% para makuha natin yung total cost na 31,250. Ganda sa sugar syrup, final sales value 70,000 times 62.5% equals 43,750. Sa fructose syrup, ang final sales value is 40,000 times cost ratio na 62.5% equals sa 25,000. So, itatal lang natin yung final sales value kasi mahalaga yan dahil magagamit pa natin for later computation. Total sales value is 160,000. Then, total cost natin, add lang natin yung nakuha natin, equals 100,000. Next, third step, determine the joint cost allocated to each joint product. At para makuha natin yung joint allocated na yan, yung total cost, ililas lang natin yung separable cost. Kumbaga, aalisin lang natin itong separable cost para ma-determine natin yung ating joint cost allocated. So, ngayon ay total cost natin sa sugar, 31,250. Minus separable cost niya na 12,000 equals sa joint cost allocated para sa sugar na 19,250. Ganun din sa sugar syrup. Total cost, less separable cost niya equals 11,750. Sa fructose syrup, 25,000 minus 16,000 equals 9,000. And last step, check na natin if the joint cost na allocated ba natin is nag-equal doon sa ating total joint cost kanina, which is the 40,000. So, nakuha tayo ng 19,250 for sugar syrup na 11,750, at sa fructose syrup na 9,000. Add lang natin yan, we will get 40,000. So, equal siya sa ating total joint cost. And then, ngayon, dadako na tayo sa accounting for byproduct and scrap. Again, di ba sabi, pag gumagawa tayo ng isang product, hindi lang naman main product ang naggagawa natin. Dahil, meron din tayong makukuhang byproduct and scrap. At kasama na rin natin yung waste. Pero, tulad ng sinabi, ang waste ay immaterial na, kaya hindi na natin siya problemahin. Ang pinakatanong dito, how are byproduct and scrap accounted for? Next. So, sabi nga, yung joint production processes ay mag-yield yan ng joint product at ng byproduct. Itong mga byproduct na to, like joint ones, ay na-produce sila from the same material or common manufacturing process. And byproducts are those products of limited sales value produced simultaneously with products of greater sales value. With greater sales value, ito yung ating main product or principal product. At may dalawa tayong method sa ating byproduct, and mamimili tayo or we should depend on the following. So first one, the magnitude of the net realizable value of the byproduct. Second is the need for additional processing after split off. And remember, as the sales value of the byproduct increases or as the sales value of the product becomes more material, so does the need for inventory recognition. Ngayon naman, dadako na tayo. And sa pag-account natin ng byproduct, we have the two methods. Byproducts and for scrap. So, the first method is byproducts are recognized when sold. So, alalahanin natin na this method is used when byproducts are considered minor important and does not require additional processing cost. The net revenue from the sale of byproduct, which is the sales value less selling costs, may be treated as first, other income, which is the addition to revenue from the sale of main product, also known as the sales method or the RV method or the realizable value method. Second one, under ng byproducts na recognized when sold, is the reduction from the cost of the main products, also known as the NRV method or the production method. So, second method natin, byproducts are recognized when produced. It is used when byproducts are considered important and therefore require additional processing cost. The NRV of the completed product, which is the estimated sales value less estimated additional cost and selling cost. Bakit may mga estimated additional cost and selling cost? Because it require additional processing. So, meron din talagang additional na cost na ma-incur ang ating product. And it is charged to byproduct inventory and deducted from total manufacturing cost. Remember, no part of joint cost is allocated to byproduct. Next, yan, para mas malinawan tayo, itulungan natin to si Miss Rebecca Harness sa kanyang problema. Pasok, Ma'am Miss Rebecca. Hi, I'm Rebecca Harness. I am the accountant of MacB Company. Our factory process generates two products, and I don't know how to account them. These are products. French fries, the main product, is sold for 80 pesos per pack, and potato skin are byproduct, which is sold for 30 pesos per pack, the net of selling cost. Thank you, Ma'am Rebecca. So, para mas matulungan natin siya at mas malinawan tayo, let's use the two methods na na-discuss natin kanina. So, bago yan, ito muna, tingnan natin ang quantity reports, ang ating information. Nandito yung production for french fries and potato skins, yung sales nila, yung beginning inventory nila, at yung ending inventory. So, una natin gagamitin ay ang method A, byproducts are recognized when sold. Tulad ng nabanggit kanina, meron itong dalawang approach. At ang unang approach ay other income approach or also known as the sales method or the RV method. In this method, there is no journal entries until sales of the byproduct occurs, and the revenue or the proceeds are reported in the income statement either as revenue group with other sales or as other income. And from the data given sa ating MACB company ni Ms. Harkness, here's the journal entry to record the sale of the byproduct. Debit natin is accounts receivable or cash na 6,000. Credit sales na potato skin na 6,000. Then, to record sales of the byproduct, 150 times 40 pesos. So, saan nanggaling yung 150? Nanggaling yan doon sa ating sales column dahil nga sa byproduct, we will recognize it when they are sold. Next, na approach under method A is net revenue treated as cost reduction or also known as the production method or the NRV method. Debit accounts receivable or cash na 6,000. Credit work in process na french fries na 6,000. And description to record sales of the byproduct 150 times 40 pesos. Again, kapag sa method A, we recognize the byproduct when they are sold. Then, ma-analyze natin sa method na ito na first, there is no cost is assigned or allocated to the byproduct. Nakita naman natin, ang kinredit natin is work in process french fries. Then second one, the sale of the byproduct has no effect on the cost of the main product. And third, the procedure is simple and practical and requires no computation of the cost of the byproduct. For better illustration, nandito ang MACB Company income statement for the month of May 2020. Other income and cost reduction. So, i-compare natin sila. Sa revenues, main product for french fries is 2,000. Saan nanggaling yan? Doon yan nanggaling sa sales column natin na 2,000. Kaya naman, ita-times lang natin yan sa selling price natin and our revenue for main product is 160,000 for both other income and cost reduction. Then, sa byproduct naman natin, na potato skins, 150 times 40 pesos. So, etong byproduct is addition siya sa other income. Mapapansin natin na wala siya sa cost reduction kasi nga, ang revenue or ang byproduct ay ginagawa natin itong addition sa ating revenue in the approach lamang ng other income. So, i-add lang natin yan para makuha ang ating total revenue. So, 160,000 plus 6,000 equals 166,000 para sa ating other income. Then, sa cost reduction, i-copy lang natin ng 160,000. Then, para sa ating cost of goods sold, total manufacturing cost, both are 125,000 dahil given naman ito. Then, i-less natin yung byproduct revenue. So, again, 150, galing yan sa ating sales. Then, times lang natin sa selling price na 40 pesos. Then, mapapansin natin na sa cost reduction lang siya meron. Kasi nga, dito sa cost reduction, isa siyang deduction sa ating revenue. Then, para makuha yung net manufacturing cost, copy lang natin yung total manufacturing cost para sa other income, which is 125,000. Then, sa ating cost reduction, 125,000 less 6,000 equals 119,000. Then, i-less natin yung main product inventory. And para makuha natin yan, titingin tayo sa production column natin. So, production ng ating byproduct divided by production ng ating main product. So, 500 divided by 2,500 units times sa net manufacturing cost equals, simplify natin yung 500 over 2,500. Magiging 1/5 siya times 125,000 equals 25,000 para sa other income. Then, sa cost reduction naman, 500 divided by 2,500 times sa net manufacturing cost equals, simplify natin ulit, 1/5 times 119,000 equals 23,800. Ngayon, kunin natin yung cost of goods sold. So, para makuha yan, net manufacturing cost, less lang natin yung main product inventory. Para sa other income, 125,000 less 25,000 equals 100,000. Ganun din sa ating cost reduction. Net manufacturing cost, less lang natin yung main product inventory. 119,000 less 23,800 equals 95,200. Ngayon, para makuha natin yung gross profit natin, total revenues less cost of goods sold. So, para sa ating other income, ang total revenues natin is 166,000 less cost of goods sold na 100,000. Gross profit is 66,000. Then, ganun din sa total reduction. Total revenues less sa ating cost of goods sold. So, 160,000 less 95,200 equals sa gross profit na 64,800 para sa ating cost reduction. So, mapapansin natin na mas mataas ang gross profit sa other income compare sa cost reduction. Why? Because nga, dahil sa ating cost, sa ating other income, we recognize the byproduct as an addition sa ating revenue. So, dumako na tayo sa ating method B. Method B, byproducts are recognized when produced. In this method, we recognize the byproduct in the financial statement at the time the production is completed, and the byproduct is recorded at its net realizable value, and the NRV from the byproduct produced is debited to byproduct inventory account and deducted from the cost of the main product. And the journal entry to illustrate this method is as follows. So, debit natin is yung byproduct inventory natin na potato skins na 20,000. Then, credit work in process na french fries na 20,000. Description: to record the net realizable value of the completed product. So, 500 times 1 times 40 pesos na selling price. So, saan natin nakuha yung 500? Yung 500 ay nakuha natin sa production column for our potato skins. And for better illustration, nandito ang MacB Company income statement for the month of May 2020. Revenues for the main product, 160,000. Saan nakuha yan? So, 2,000 times natin sa selling price na 80 pesos. So, sa sales column tayo tumingin. Then, sa cost of goods sold, total manufacturing cost na 125,000, given naman siya. Then, lalas lang natin yung net realizable of the product na 20,000. Again, saan nakuha yan? Doon yan sa ating production column na 500 units times 40 pesos na selling price ng ating byproduct. Then, makuha natin ang net manufacturing cost. Total manufacturing cost less net realizable of the byproduct. So, 125,000 less 20,000 equals sa 105,000 na ating net manufacturing cost. Then, less natin yung main product inventory para makuha ang cost of goods sold. Pero bago yun, hanapin muna natin ang ating main product inventory. So, para makuha yun, titingin tayo sa ating production. Dahil nga sa method B, naka-focus tayo or naka-base tayo sa ating production. So, 500 units times 500 units divided by 2,500 units times net manufacturing cost equals, simplify natin, 1/5 times 105,000 equals sa 21,000 for our main product inventory. Then, para makuha natin ang ating cost of goods sold, ilalas lang natin ang main product inventory sa nakuha nating net manufacturing cost. So, 105,000 less 21,000 equals 84,000 para sa ating cost of goods sold. Again, sana marami kayo natutunan sa ating mga lesson for today, and this is our end of discussion. Thank you and God bless us.